December 1st marked the first annual Crossfit Yuma Throwdown, and it was without a doubt a ball-busting, chest-pounding hell of a great event. Athletes from Crossfit Yuma competed against the best of the best from Mexicali and Imperial Valley CrossFit. Competitors were chopped into 6 divisions: women's and men's scaled, masters, and RX. They competed in 3 back-breaking wads with just enough time between to puke out the weakness and come back for more. Wad number 1, for scaled and masters, both men and women, as many reps as possible in the longest 8 minutes of their lives. 40 singles, 10 hand release push-ups, and 5 burpee box jumps. Men's and women's RX, as many reps as possible in 8 minutes, 20 double unders, 10 pull-ups, and 5 burpee box jumps. First up were the ladies in the scaled division. They were off like gangbusters, a very closely contended matchup in this one, but in the end it would be Gina Hendricks just edging out Heather Weber for first. And bringing up the bronze in this one was Sirenny Brown. This is what it looked like after 1 for the women's scaled. And we move on to women's masters. It would go Laura Dubé in that coveted first place position, followed very closely by Deborah Driscoll in second, and Gina Wright would bring up that 3rd place position. And after 1, this is what it looked like for the women's masters. And we go now to the women of the RX for the first RX workout. These ladies flew out of the gate like bulls in a rodeo, and they did not stop. PJ Enders of Imperial Valley, a top contender in this competition, seemed to struggle a little on the pull-ups, and that hurt her in this one. The box was almost as tall as Barb Braden, but she crushed that thing like an upside-down Chinese food container. But in the end, it would be Jenny Jones ripping that first place trophy out of reach, followed by Braden of Yuma and Megan Gunn, another unhuman human, nabbed that 3rd place spot. After 1, this is what it looked like for the women's RX. Next, we saw the first blokes up to bat at this men's scaled. Alan Morales blazing through this one to earn that gold star first place spot. On his heels was Dane Fuller of CrossFit Yuma at just 19 years old and fresh out of high school, taking that silver place. And Doug Stuckmeyer in 3rd. And after 1, this is what it looked like for the men's scale. Men's masters with only 3 competitors went down like this. First place went to Mark Fuller, retired Marine and father of Dane Fuller. He ripped through this one like a man possessed. Second went to Mitch Driscoll, and bringing up the rear, Richard Dubé. Finally, we got our first look at the largest, nastiest gang of monsters in the competition. Of course, I'm talking about the men's RX. This division saw 17 vicious and hungry opponents, all with one thing on their mind: who would have the biggest wad? When this one was all said and done, Bryce Brown of Imperial Valley would come out on top, followed very closely by Noel Fammy, and 3rd, Brian Bergen. After 1, this is what it looked like for men's RX. Competitors took a very short break while the speedy and talented crew of CrossFit Yuma set up the next WOD, which took the athletes outside to the uncharacteristically warm December day, even for Yuma. We go to the clean and jerk ladder. Women's scaled and masters 45 to 135 pounds, women's RX 65 to 155 pounds, men's scaled and masters 95 to 185 pounds, and men's RX 165 to 255 pounds. Ladies of the scaled type wasted no time throwing this weight around. At the end of this one, Sirenny Brown would take first. 4 ladies, Heather Weber, Blanca Contreras, Daniela Acosta, and Julie Evans tied for 2nd, leaving Dory Rush and Gina Hendricks tied for 6th. This is what it looked like after 2 for the women's scale. Women's Masters saw Patsy Enders, who was last in the first WOD, take first in this one. And this is why I love CrossFit. You have to be well-rounded to win these kinds of competitions. Gina Wright took 2nd in this one, where she was 3rd in the first WOD, and 3rd went to Deborah Driscoll, who was 2nd in the first WOD. The women's RX was a dead heat between Braden, Enders, and Gunn, who all lifted that top weight of 155 pounds. Jenny Jones would bring up 4th place for this one. And in the men's scale, first would be tied with Morales and Struckmeyer, and third going to Jason DT. The men's masters fell out the same order as WOD number 1. Mark Fuller in that first place spot, Mitch Driscoll in second, and Richard Dubé taking third. Men's RX top weight was a whopping 255 pounds. I don't think I could lift that off my grandma if it was crushing her skull and she was begging for her life. Sorry, Grandma, but that's heavy. Only 2 gentlemen were able to hoist that heavy load overhead, and they were both from Yuma, Scott Hull and Noel Fammy. And just for fun, Fammy decided once wasn't enough. He did one for the core and one for the ladies in the crowd who weren't already impressed. Third went to Luis Vildasula. This is what it looked like after 2 in the men's RX. The final WOD was a devilish concoction, no doubt cooked up by the sadistic and sensational Joey Dressler, owner of CrossFit Yuma and organizer of the first annual CrossFit Yuma Throwdown. The workout: 10 deadlifts, followed by a medicine ball carry, followed by 10 kettlebell swings, and another medicine ball carry back to the bar. Oh, and by the way, just do this 5 times. Scaled and masters: women 125 pounds and men 185 pounds. For RX, women would be hoisting 185 pounds and men a whopping 275 pounds. Women scaled: first place went to Dory Rush, second to Sirenny Brown, and third went to Heather Weber. Women's Masters saw another first place finish for Patsy Enders, another second for Gina Wright, and third went to Laura Dubé. Men's scaled: Doug Stuckmeyer nabbed that first place position, second to Jorge Motuz, and third to Alan Morales, who you remember took first in the other 2 WODs. Men's Masters lined up the same as the last 2, with Fuller pushing to that first place position, followed by Driscoll and Dubé. Women's RX, it was a nail-biter, so close to the bitter end, but PJ Enders would end it for the competition with another first-place win. On her heels was Braden, followed really closely by Megan Gunn. Men's RX saw a surprise first place finish going to Marty Red, who just blazed through those deadlifts like there was no weight on the bar. Bryce Brown grabbed that second place, followed by Noel Fammy in third. So, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of a long day, this is how the first annual CrossFit Yuma Throwdown went down.
All right, guys, first of all, let's give a round of applause to all the athletes, everyone came out today.
Women's scale, third place went to Blanca Contreras. Second was Heather Weber. And in that first place position, Sirenny Brown of CrossFit Yuma. Women's Masters went third place, Laura Dubé. Second went to Gina Wright. And first place, Patsy Enders. In the men's scaled, third place would go to Dane Fuller. Second, Doug Struckmeyer. In first place, Alan Morales. The men's masters, no surprise here, third place, Richard Dubé. Second went to Mitch Driscoll, and first place, Mark Fuller. For the women's RX, third place would go to Megan Gunn. Second, PJ Enders, and first place position was Barb Braden. For the men's RX, third went to Luis Vildasula. Second place, Bryce Brown. And first place nabbed by Noel Fammy of CrossFit Yuma. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up. Join us next time for the second annual CrossFit Yuma Throwdown.